With this guy. So needless to say, you should know all the great vessels of the heart, even if they are within a torso model. So it's fair game to ask you about the pulmonary trunk or the pulmonary veins or the inferior superior vena cava while they are attached to a heart which is in a torso model. All right, so sometimes we ask you questions like that. All right, so you got to be prepared to be able to think on your feet and answer a question like that, even if the heart is not sitting on a pedestal on the table like you may be familiar with from 2 weeks ago. Okay, so that being said, I can take out the heart now. We're going to start here with the ascending aorta, which is right here, right? And then we have the aortic arch, and then here is the descending aorta. All right, and then here you can see the descending aorta passes through the diaphragm right here to become the abdominal aorta. So let's go up to the aortic arch. There's 3 vessels coming off the aortic arch, right? The brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid artery, and left subclavian artery. So right here, 313 is the brachiocephalic trunk, and then right after it, it looks like it's 314 is the left common carotid artery, and then, what is it? 315 is the left subclavian artery. All right, so brachiocephalic trunk, left common carotid artery, and left subclavian artery, all coming off the aortic arch. Then, let's follow the path of the brachiocephalic trunk. You can see just a little bit of the right common carotid artery coming up here, and you really can't see much of the right subclavian artery, but if you could see the right subclavian artery, it would be somewhere up here, just deep to the right subclavian vein, which you can see very clearly. The problem is the right subclavian vein is covering up that right subclavian artery. And you can't see where the right common carotid artery and the right subclavian artery branch away from the brachiocephalic trunk. You just kind of have to know that it's there. That's why it's so important to memorize the connectivity of all these blood vessels by drawing them out on your own first. So you can come into this using a little bit of inference and that knowledge that you've developed. All right, so now we can see the continuation of the left common carotid artery here, and then we can see the left subclavian artery as it passes behind the clavicle for which it gets its name. All right, so now again, this is the descending aorta. All right, and you can see where it passes through the diaphragm, and here's where it emerges again to become your abdominal aorta. All right. And so the first 2 arteries coming off the abdominal aorta here in the abdominal pelvic cavity are going to be your inferior phrenic arteries. And unfortunately, we only show the right inferior phrenic artery, which looks like 361 here. And then right below this is supposed to be the celiac trunk, which doesn't even look like it's its own artery because as soon as it forms, it splits up into its 3 branches. All right, so the superior branch is your left gastric artery, which takes blood to the stomach, right? Gastric means stomach. And then you have your splenic artery, which is going to take it's going to take blood to the spleen. And then right here is the common hepatic artery, which will take blood to the liver. And then right here is your superior mesenteric artery, which is going to be flopped right over your left renal vein. And then you can also see the renal artery. So here's your left renal artery and your right renal artery. And then down here, the pipe cleaners in red represent the gonadal arteries. Here's the right gonadal artery and the left gonadal artery. And then right here, which is unnumbered, this is your inferior mesenteric artery, delivering blood to the last part of your large intestine. Superior mesenteric artery, by the way, is taking blood to your whole small intestines and most of your large intestine. And then here is the end of the abdominal aorta where it branches into the right and left common iliac arteries. And then here's the next branch point right here and right here. So just on the right side, we can see where the right common iliac artery is going to branch into the right external iliac artery and the right internal iliac artery. And over here on the left, we can see where the left common iliac artery branches into the left external iliac artery and the left internal iliac artery. The internal iliac arteries are going to be delivering blood to the pelvis, and the external iliac arteries are going to be delivering blood to the lower extremities. So right here, all right, you see these external iliac arteries, or at least over here on the right side, we see the right external iliac artery reemerge to be renamed the right femoral artery. All right, and that's really all that can be seen from that point on. based on the blood vessels that we've taught you. All right, so now let's do the veins. I'm gonna go right back up to where we started and look. So right here,